Hi, I'm Sarah Boucaut and I'm from Zeke International. I'm here today to talk to the Women in Mining BC group about comminution efficiency and strategies that Zeke are proposing to improve the efficiency of operations to deliver improved shareholder value and outcomes for the mining operators. Well, good afternoon. My name is Sarah Boucaut. I am the Executive Officer of an organisation called Zeke. The acronym for Zeke is in fact displayed here, the Coalition for EcoEfficient Comminution. Clearly a name that wasn't developed by a marketer. Nonetheless, the focus of our organisation is a very serious topic and one which I hope each of you will find comes across your pathway in some way or another professionally, so therefore it will be of interest to you. Zeke is a not-for-profit organisation, a global organisation. We are totally funded and sponsored by industry companies. Our objective is to enable energy efficient solutions in mineral processing. This particular area that we focus on is known as comminution. And forgive me, for those of you who are technical and familiar with comminution, please bear with me. If you're not familiar with this term, it essentially means the crushing and grinding of rocks. And when you assume that you've got to take a very hard piece of ore out of the side of a hill and crush it down to something that's finer than the powder that they sprinkle on your cappuccino, you need to have a very, very energy demanding system to be able to crush it and get it down to that fine grind. And one of the reasons why this has become an imperative business cost and is estimated to cost and use up to 3% of the world's electrical energy today is because the grades of ores that we're processing today are declining. Not surprisingly, we've mined the easy to access ores, therefore we're now working with very low grade ores and in some cases 1 gram per tonne, for example, of the select metal that we're looking to extract. So we're dealing with this declining grades. We're also, as the grades decline, we obviously have to grind it further, and if you look at the graph on the bottom right-hand corner, it shows you there's quite an exponential relationship. As you grind the ore further, it requires more energy to extract that mineral. In doing so, in a number of markets around the world, using that amount of energy and electricity is having a serious impact on the environment of the community. South Africa is a good example of that, where Eskom is unable to keep up with the demands required for powering the community as well as running their business operations. So it becomes an issue related to social license to operate as well. And of course, as you're conducting these additional processes, it's taking more and more money to run the grinding mills. So Zeke's objective was to establish some sort of database of information which would assist mining operators and companies that work with them in the met sector to be able to put together solutions which exist to make this whole process more efficient. So our vision is to demonstrate energy efficient comminution strategies to improve productivity in the mining workplace, in turn pass on energy efficiency and productivity, and to develop shareholder value, which is really what we all want. If you go to the website, what you'll find along the top there is that fixed banner which says about Why Comminution, Resource Centre and so on. I'd encourage you to go to the tab that says Why Comminution, and you'll find a very brief 3-minute video which summarises why Zeke exists, what are the drivers for change, what are some of the barriers to that being achieved, and how we're addressing that solution. We work very strongly with organisations around the world who have similar objectives, and it's very important to us that we do so. We are, as I mentioned, wholly sponsored by the industry itself, and it's very important to me that we make the most of that opportunity to work with other organisations that have similar ideals of seeing the mining industry be successful. Okay, I'm just going to jump back to the roadmap. I mentioned the fact that we had this workshop in 2012, and what came out of that were 4 key activities that were agreed could take place immediately, and they were basically to start measuring what was being done on site in a way that it could be compared and measured on a frequent basis to assume and to move towards best practice. So much as you might want to achieve a personal best in your fitness regime, we wanted to try and emulate that concept with regard to the mineral processing efficiency at a particular site. Once a standard baseline had been established, the thought was then to move to adopting best practice on site and to be able to plot that and look at what comes out of that. You can only imagine and extrapolate in your own mind, I think, the concepts of teamwork that will come, concepts of connectivity, of best practice, and so on that come once you start to measure and on a regular basis that type of activity. Implementing an appropriate business drivers and KPIs and then communicating and motivating the team, very much great opportunities for management. So last year, in 2014, I was actually here and we held a workshop here just downtown with a similar group of industry leaders, and we came up with this concept of collecting, measuring and benchmarking energy intensity. And this really refers to the document that's on your table. We wanted to provide a simple, visual and universal benchmarking technique that could be used as a way of assessing operational effectiveness. And the methodology that we've adopted is something that's been developed through one of the research centres, one of the universities, and that is to use the cost curve concept to plot the energy intensity and volume of a particular operation. So in this particular case, the production of a particular site is the width of the column, whereas the height demonstrates the energy intensity of that particular operation. Now, what that means is that the columns on the far right of your screen are using more energy to produce their ore than the ones on the left. However, it really isn't important whether or not you are on the right or the left, because your circumstances might be unique. You may be off-grid, you might be bringing fuel in from a great distance, you might be working with very, very hard ores. What's important is you know where you are and you start to measure, because without measuring it, you have no way of improving your operation. This is a quick example of a company who we were able to take their operational performance and track it over a course of 10 years. And you can see there how they have improved their operation year on year. So this is the sort of outcome that we would like to see companies monitoring on a regular basis. This is a particular case study which was actually the Zeke medal winner for 2013. A homegrown product. You'll be proud to know that the medal was won by a group of authors based here in British Columbia. It was the result of a project that was taking place under the support of BC Hydro, where they put an energy efficiency manager on site at Huckleberry Mine. This particular researcher was able to investigate the efficiency improvements that could be achieved using different combinations of mill grinding circuits. And you can see how it moves, in this case, the HPGR with a stirred mill moves the efficiency of the operation significantly down to the left. Extrapolating the financial outcomes are something that you can model in your own head, and the productivity gains and shareholder value that would come from that. At the moment, this is currently been updated, and in fact we now have about 20% of the world's gold production by volume in our database, over 40% of the world's copper production, and we've significantly increased the other ore body types there that you can see. We've got about 1.32 million tonnes of ore in our database at the moment. If you go to our website, you'll find on the homepage a tab which says participate in the energy curve, and that's exactly, you just click right through there. It's very self-explanatory for any of you who are in that particular area of the business. I'm very happy to step you through it. But Zeke provides this service of analysing your current operating efficiency as an industry service. There is no charge. The data which goes into this particular database is held in confidence by our researcher. None of myself nor my board members know where any of the identity of any of the unique bars on that column, because we are not looking to expose any particular company. What we're trying to do is provide a tool that companies can use to improve their own activities. So in summary, Zeke is an industry good initiative. We really believe that improving the efficiency of your operation will lead to greater productivity, and that in turn is going to grow jobs, it's going to provide happy shareholders, it's going to grow communities. We also hope that Zeke can facilitate innovation, break down some of the barriers that are in place at the moment, that if you're in a supplier company, you might find from time to time very difficult to be able to see your solution taken up by the operator. And obviously there's a real area of tension there where operators are looking to ensure that they can be as productive and meet their shareholders' expectations. Taking a risk of adopting something new can be quite tricky. So the energy efficiency curve can facilitate de-risking an operation by helping an operator understand exactly where they are at the moment, and potentially you could model an alternative solution through the energy efficiency curve, and that would help look at what the outcomes would be. We also think that it's going to build teams within the operations. And of course, as we have more data into this energy program, we are going to be able to give more granular results. Without naming any individual companies, that's not our objective, I stress that. But what we'll be able to do is break out patterns by equipment type, by regions, by ore type, ore bodies, and so on. So we will be continually growing the data that we can provide back to the industry, putting it up on the website. This is just a little summary. We have a couple of patrons, and that's my presentation. Right on time.
How many years has Zeke been operating?
That's a good question. We're a relatively new organisation. We were founded as an idea at the IMPC meeting in 2010, and I joined the organisation in February 2011. The concept at that time was simply to populate a database with these published papers around the world and essentially pull together what was a focused library. And as you might have realised from my bio, my background's not in mining. I came in to assist them with the strategic setup of that particular area, but it really caught my imagination, and I was very excited about the potential that this particular initiative has in terms of improving what is a fundamentally brilliant industry and has such a huge impact on all of our lives. So here we are 4 years later, and here I am talking to you. So it's really grown enormously in 4 years. Yeah, thank you.
So outside of the comminution process, is there a secondary aspect that you would like to address next?
There has been a lot of interest in us expanding into other areas such as water and waste management. At this point in time, given our remit is comminution and the fact that we are wholly funded by the industry, we're conscious of trying to get the balance right, deliver on what we've made a commitment to do, and looking very strongly though at whether or not we could provide a role in those other sectors down the track. We'd like to do that, but it would require additional resources, of course.
Has Zeke done any sort of data collection or analysis on energy impacts down the line with waste management? For example, if you have smaller particles, maybe it requires more energy to dispose of the waste or more energy to extract the water from smaller particles?
At this point in time, we haven't. We generally manage and look at data and at papers that really pretty much go from the mine to the mill, and we haven't taken into account what takes place beyond that. There are certainly opportunities for us to extend in that direction, and I hear it time and time again. I mean, water is definitely an area of significant focus around the world. You know, here where you have the issues that are very much replicated even in a dry continent like Australia or South Africa, for example, or South America, I should say. So yes, I think that's the direction that we'd like to take, but the final decision on that will come from our board, and it will rest very much on the industry's interest and support in us doing that sort of work. So, yeah. I'd just like to thank you all very much. I really appreciate you coming today, and I welcome any interchange or exchange via email. and encourage you to get on board with LinkedIn and just sign up to our e-news and spread the word. So thank you all very, very much.